Are Prince Harry's security issues real or are they fake? Now, of course, there's probably an element of risk that Harry and Meghan live with on the day to day that most people do not. They are an incredibly famous couple living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, and he is the son of the king. Although I would say when it comes to the kind of hierarchy of what is actually making them, you could say, a potential target, I think being the king's son is actually very low on the list. When you have millions of dollars, sometimes people are very interested in what they might gain from you. And it's interesting to compare Harry's security issues with that of Catherine Amalia of the Netherlands, who has essentially had to have this huge security apparatus because of a threat against her life. It forced her to actually take her studies from Amsterdam to Madrid. And she just had an event today to commemorate her time in the country of Spain, dedicating a tulip bed, which is very fitting as she is the future queen of the Netherlands. But I thought it would be interesting to sort of compare real security issues to, I think, in many ways, Harry's fake delusional security issues. Is there a risk to him and his wife? Probably. But it's more a risk that they have developed themselves by flaunting a wealthy lifestyle rather than his status as the son of the king. So we shall get into this because I think it's so important, because if he gets his IPP status back, we might be forced to pay for his security in the United States because apparently he's too poor to do it himself. So that is very, very aggravating, isn't it? So, guys, we shall explore this issue. But if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary. So please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you back. And this month is April, and of course, it's the month of diamonds. And so I have my diamond stud earrings here on and my 7-stone eternity band that are all from Ana Lucia Diamonds. And so if you guys are interested in any of these pieces, I also have a cross, a necklace, because Easter is coming up. There'll be a link up above. And if you use code ROYAL20, you shall save 20%. All right, guys. And for this issue, we may not get to a crown report. We shall see if future Brittany can do it, because I'm in the process of sort of heading out of town. And so lots and lots going on. So not able to, I'm sort of pre-recording this. So I don't know if I'll be able to include new news. I just might be able to include sort of this story. So let's go ahead and get into this, because I shared a little bit about this in a video the day before, talking about Amalia and the dedication of this tulip bed. And it got me sort of thinking again about this dynamic between the heir and the spare, because Amalia, as a future queen, there was apparently, I guess, some mafia group or something that was sort of planning something around her. I'm not sure the exact details. I don't really want to know if that compromises her security, of course. And then Harry thinking that he has as much security risks as somebody who's going to be the future monarch of their country, because in reality, it's really the heir that most people are interested in. They're not as interested in the spare. So Harry's sort of delusion here is it's not a big surprise, but it raises some really interesting questions. So let's get into this interview with Matt Wilkinson, because I thought there was some really interesting revelations here, especially regarding the very confusing court case, because allegedly Prince Harry has flown into London for this case. So he arrived Monday, April 7th, I believe. And so the case is the 8th and the 9th. So let's listen in.
Got a court case.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of
gosh.
drama, is there, Matt?
I've been to quite a few of the hearings. I've lost count about how many court cases that I've been to with Harry and his security.
So I thought that was interesting that Matt's like, I've been to so many of these, I don't know where we are anymore. He genuinely looks like, oh gosh, we're doing this again. Like, aren't we done yet? So I thought that was really interesting that he's just like, oh, doesn't want to even talk about it again.
So I am a little bit lost as to where specifically we are, because I thought it was over, then it started again, then it was over again. And every single document that I've read in court, or that has been presented to the court and then that we've managed to digest, has all said that he doesn't have a case.
So Harry doesn't have a case. According to every single court record, there is no case for Harry here. So he's just beating a dead horse at this point, just trying every single legal avenue and loophole in order to try and make this happen.
I just do not know why we are still why he is still in court talking about this. I think I know why he's fighting so strongly.
Why?
But I've sat there in these court cases.
So we will get to the why. That's very interesting. So sorry, I got to stop it a couple of times for copyright reasons.
Thought, well, it's over now. He's lost, but it's another appeal, another appeal, another appeal. I'm not going because I've been to too many.
Matt refuses to go.
It's over. I'm not going to attend.
Matt and I have got a hot date in Rome next Tuesday, so that's.
So yeah, they're going and covering King Charles and Queen Camilla's tour of Italy. So they're like, peace out. We're not doing this anymore.
Not just us. We're going with the
So
King
tell
and
us a
Queen.
bit about what is happening on Tuesday, and is he coming over?
Me and Matt are going to be in Rome, so that's all you need to know.
Nice and far away, Matt.
He is going. We don't know if he's coming yet, and
so. Is he coming? Brittany can officially confirm that yes, Prince Harry did come to the UK because I actually saw him at the courthouse. If you guys don't know, I was arriving already in the country on April the 9th, which was the second day of the trial. And to try to alleviate or manage some of my jet lag, I thought it would be a fun idea to go out there and stand in front of the courthouse for 3 hours for 11 seconds of actually seeing Harry. Yes, this is how royal watching, royal reporting actually works. There's a lot of sitting and waiting. Some of the press people had been there since the morning time, like the very early hours. So hours upon hours and hours. But I got some amazing shots, and I like to do this so I can have my own cache of images for the future. But it was obviously very interesting to see him there, and he seemed to look fairly happy departing. So I don't know where the status of the court case is now, but he didn't look displeased or frustrated as he left. But it's always hard to tell. And if you're worried about the Sussex squad bit, we will get there.
That's the last thing they're going to tell us when it concerns his security, given everything that's going to be discussed. He may pop up. That would be quite the turn of events, wouldn't it? But essentially, his lawyers are back at the Court of Appeal, trying to, I guess this is probably the last-ditch chance.
So this is the final end game. So I'm so glad they're talking about this because the British legal system, or I should say the UK legal system, does confuse me. So I'm unsure where things at. We know it's at the Court of Appeals, though.
I've sat through last-ditch chances. Trying to do it. No, honestly, I'm not just being pedantic about this. I'm just surprised that it's still in court and it's still going on. So he's appealing. He's appealing the Court of Appeal's decision to turn down his appeal. I think that's what
this
we
is
are
it.
at.
Why? So he's appealing the Court of Appeal's decision to not let him appeal.
You're fighting so hard, Matt. I'm dying to ask
He
you.
wants security.
He wants security. So my theory on this, and it's not proven, it's just my actual theory from sitting through these cases, that.
So, and this is one that I've heard before and one a lot of people have repeated. So I think we're all pretty certain at this point, especially given how hard he's trying to get this, is it comes down to money.
So he gets security. If he comes over here and the police say, oh, there is a threat or there is a need, he will get protection. Okay, he has to give 30 days notice like anyone else in that situation. And they'll say, yeah, okay, yeah, there is a threat to you. Yeah, you need somebody to secure. You want to stay in Buckingham Palace? Oh, you don't want to stay in Buckingham Palace? We'll give you these kind of options.
So that is always needed to be stated. Harry, anytime he is in the UK, can get security if he gives them 30 days notice. And if there's a legitimate threat. You know, a lot of people, they plan trips months in advance. It's perfectly appropriate for Prince Harry to plan his trips accordingly and get the necessary security if there is an actual risk. Again, this goes, I think, into the land of delusion here for Harry and Meghan. Like, they think there's this huge risk out there, or he really wants to believe it. But maybe it's more because he's desperate for the money, because the money that they have to spend on security is so burdensome that they can hardly do anything else.
I think that he wants the status of a protected person in the UK, and so that it's paid for by the UK, so he gets guaranteed security in the UK, so that when he is abroad, he can be an international protected person.
So that's very important. Anytime he's abroad, he lives abroad. So that burden gets extended to my country, to other countries, because he's being a baby and things paying for his own security is too burdensome. I find it very annoying. Very annoying.
Because that was removed from him in the Megxit terms. He was no longer, because he wasn't protected in the UK, he wasn't protected abroad. So if he could get it in the UK, that gives him protection in the US, in Canada, in Colombia, in Nigeria, wherever he wants to go, because he's an international
It
protected
saves him
person,
money.
which saves him a lot
Because
of
he's
money.
paying for his
He's
own at the
paying.
moment.
Yeah.
This is
So it all comes down to the money. And it's just good again to have this reiterated. He might have risks. He might have risks at certain times, but that's not why he's pursuing this. He's pursuing this because he's paying millions of dollars a year to satisfy his wife and to satisfy their delusions. And we've heard before that he thinks that there's people outside everywhere just anxious to take pictures of their kids. It's like, no, nobody cares. Nobody really does care. So he wants to put that burden on other people because he doesn't want to pay. But you left, Harry. That's one of the prices for leaving, is that you're going to have to pay for this.
it's just my general theory, because I do not understand why he's fighting so hard. The police in this country are very, very good. They are not going to allow any harm to come to the king's son or the future king's brother, for in future years.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. He's going to have protection if there is a danger. So I rather think that that's his motivation.
So I think he's 100% correct there. That is Harry's motivation. It's not actually that he has this huge, massive, glaring risk, and so does his wife. And if that risk is there, he will get protection. Nobody wants anything to happen to him or his wife or his family. Nobody wants that. But he has to be subjected to the taxpayers here. Nobody wants to pay for this, Harry. I'm so sorry. Nobody wants to. You're no longer working for your father, and then by extension, no longer working for the UK government. There is no reason for anybody to pay for you. No reason. Anybody in my country, Canada, Germany, or Nigeria, Colombia, anywhere to pay for your guys' security. You are on your own. That was your choice. And now, could it be that the Sussex squad is actually the gravest threat to Harry and Meghan? Because apparently there was an outburst by a woman in the galley listening to the trial, and she was saying something to the effect of she supports Harry and blaming the UK press for the reason he left the country. In addition to that, I guess sort of lunging at him as his security escorted him out for a planned break, I believe it was. Now, when it comes to us outside in the press area, I saw the reports. I think I maybe heard somebody mention it, but we saw nothing in terms of outside Harry being rushed out of the building. If you are curious, this is on the side of the building where he was. There's like an entry where people go in and out of the court actually quite frequently. And then there's a gate, and you walk down steps and Harry could get into his car. So the press was there. The police officers knew the press was there all day. And so there wasn't this, I would argue, grave risk. And when it comes to the people outside, like I want to say 9/10 of them were journalists waiting for him to leave, and the rest were like kind of looky-loo civilians. There weren't many people who were like, oh my gosh, I'm going to plan to be here to see Prince Harry. That was, pretty much somebody just like me, to be quite honest, because I was there, though, as a royal reporter and journalist to get the pictures and everything, but I was sort of the closest to, I will come over this way and see what happens. So it was an interesting experience for sure. And I think Harry definitely, he didn't look worried at all, scared of the press or anything as we all stood there outside the building watching him. So he waved at us. Of course, the press, some clever guy decided to have these girls who walked by and were really interested in seeing Harry. They gave him one of the step ladders so they could get up there and wave to Harry and create more noise. Like the photographers wanted people to cheer for him so he would smile. Just the cynical realities of behind the scenes stuff in royal watching and reporting. So they did get their picture that they wanted. Harry definitely reacted to it, but this whole idea that he was seemingly all that worried, it was just not there, guys. It just definitely was not there. And so I think Harry, he is worried in his mind, and he just seems to think that everybody's gunning for him, but really, honestly, that's not the case. And the reality has always been and will always be that this would have always happened. Harry would lose his constitutional relevance as time has gone on. So you can almost argue that this reaction is not just Megxit and Meghan and everything. I think it's still sort of that spare wound, you could say, that childhood trauma of being the spare. That's what's driving so much of it, because I think he just desperately wants us to believe he is as important as his brother. When, I'm sorry not to be rude to Harry, but that's just simply not true. And so William is the more important sibling in terms of the future of the UK government. And as the Wales's kids get older, Harry loses relevance year after year. So there's just not much, let's say, point. His security would have always been scaled back as they look to help secure the Wales's kids more as they grow up. So this was just inevitable. That's just a reality here. And so I think Harry is just having a tough time accepting that. He doesn't want that to be his reality. I understand why, but I don't think he's going to win this battle. Now, compare this to Katharina Amalia. So Katharina Amalia is the future queen of the Netherlands. And so she received a threat in 2022 after she started university. And according to El País, she was unable to lead a normal life. And so the country's intelligence services discovered encrypted messages about an alleged attack or kidnapping of the crown princess, and her security detail was reinforced. Due to this situation, she was unable to move in with friends in an apartment in downtown Amsterdam that her parents had rented for her as she began college studies at the University of Amsterdam. After she received threats from Amalia Mafia, an organized crime group in the Netherlands with ties to drug trafficking and human smuggling, she lived incognito in Madrid for a year in 2023, taking courses remotely for her degree in politics, psychology, law, and economics. The situation did not transpire until some time later. And so this goes sort of into the IPP situation. So I'll share this website just because I do think it's interesting what they're sharing here. It just goes to show that there is a threat to royals, but it sort of depends on your situation, because this definitely didn't happen to her sisters, Alexia or Ariane. So after the state visit, it was sort of confirmed between the monarchs during this official speech at the gala that the matter that Amalia had secretly lived in the Spanish capital for a year. Now, they call it sporadic getaways, but she had basically moved there. The matter had been kept under wraps with the complicity of the Spanish monarchs. Felipe is one of the godparents of the Dutch monarchist's eldest daughter. Last year, circumstances made our eldest daughter, Katharina Amalia, reside in Madrid. From there, she was able to continue her studies at the University of Amsterdam. All of this was possible thanks to the affectionate dedication of a large number of her fellow citizens and their majesties, said William Alexander. He also described the heir to the throne's stay in Madrid as a moving sign of friendship. So while she was there in the capital, the national police deployed a unit to protect the princess, who lived in a central Madrid neighborhood under strict surveillance by officers of the organized crime unit and the Central Brigade of Special Protections. So because of their efforts, Katharina Amalia did something very sweet and decided to give them or donate a bed of tulips for them, because obviously the Netherlands is very well known for its tulips. So she says it's a small sample of the beautiful flowers of the Netherlands to be displayed at the beautiful Plaza de Orient, she said. And she hopes the flowers represent her country will bring a little extra color to Madrid, especially in the spring, in the same way that she received everything that the city generously gave her. So let's listen to a little bit of her chat here. So guys, just to let you know right away, he's showing actually these men on top of the building. They are probably security guys right here. So this is Rick Evers. If you're interested in the Dutch Royals, I highly suggest you follow him. You're on Instagram. A lot of security here, guys. You'll notice actually lots of security. And so that's why he's, again, I think this is actually good to show, because it shows sort of the big reason why she was there is that security issues. And so here she comes, and you can actually see this. All those guys are security. Oh, there's some women in there too. Not saying that they're all men, but all, like, basically everybody there. So that's the mayor of Madrid. All those people are security. All those people, security. I don't know if both a Spanish and the Netherlands. I'm sure most of these guys here are from the Netherlands. That's the Spanish police over there. Probably one or two Spanish intelligence officers, because she is the future queen. So there she is. Yes, and she is quite tall. I know some people are talking about, she's so tall. Well, number one, she's wearing heels, but number two, people in the Netherlands are known for being tall. Her parents are tall. She is tall. So he might be above average short. Like, I know that seems kind of oxymoronic, above average short, but he might be shorter. We don't know, but she is quite tall. So there they are, unveiling the plaque here. And so there is the bed of tulips. Oh, let's listen to her speak Spanish.
Madrid es un segunda casa para mí, especialmente en un tiempo tan difícil para mí, la verdad. Y bueno, en una manera muy grandiosa.
So her mother is Argentinian, so she does speak fluent Spanish, but apparently, according to what I've heard, it's more of a Madrid accent rather than an Argentinian one.
Queremos agradecer a todo el mundo que han salvado mi seguridad y bienestar aquí en Madrid.
So I don't know what she said, but it was very sweet. She just said, as you know, basically an opportunity to say thank you. And so there she is.
Y bueno, los tulipanes siempre.
Amalia, one more.
I think she's speaking Spanish there again, too. So I thought this was pretty of her in the flower bed. So yeah, we're just enjoying now some of the video.
Amalia, here. One step, please.
And so security there. Security is still high. So that's maybe a bit concerning. But they're kind of out in public here as well.
Amalia? Amalia?
I think her shoes are hurting her feet because she's walking a little daintily. And I was like, oh, even the royals' feet, they hurt too.
In Spanje?
Muchísimas gracias.
Amalia?
Heel fijn, dank u wel.
Amalia?
Lekkere weer.
Amalia? Amalia? Bye-bye. Amalia, Amalia, Amalia.
So that was kind of interesting because I think she said thank you in Spanish and then immediately switched to Dutch. Man, I'm so jealous of the Europeans, like multiple language skills. We just know English in America. I mean, some people know another language. Megan thinks she speaks Spanish. I mean, I think she does a little bit, but I think her skills are vastly overestimated. That's neither here nor there. Anyways, so royals do have a real threat. I mean, you see it. They're worried about something. Why else have all those security people around? And when Amalia goes to Spain, she had the national police there helping to protect her. And the reason was she is an internationally protected person because she is the future queen of the Netherlands. And her father is currently king. Now, obviously, that's the case with Harry too. But Amalia is also quite young. I would also argue too, she's a woman. So I feel like she needs a bit more protection. Let's be quite honest. I mean, Harry, he's a war hero in his own mind. Should he not be able to protect his family? I would think so. I would think so. I mean, that's a little bit exaggerated. I understand that Harry and Meghan, they do think they need security and they should be as safe. Like they should expend as much money as they need to in order to feel safe. But what I never want is for my tax dollars to be supporting, let's say, more of a delusion than reality. There is no reason whatsoever that Meghan needs to be driven around Montecito by security, which we've seen before. Why? Nobody cares. Gwyneth Paltrow, I'm sure, drives her own car and she's worth a lot more than you. They think that because he's the son of the king, that for some reason, that means their security is like 12,000 times. But, you know, they've never cared about how what they've said publicly about Harry's family might impact his family security. Catherine, Williams, his father's, Camilla's. They've never thought about how their words and actions actually impact others. All they care about is themselves. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe anybody's security or anybody's taxpayer dollar should be used to fund your eccentricities. And in this case, a full-time security detail augmented by the State Department, so many different things would be an absolute waste of time and resources. If Harry wants protection like that, move back to the UK. Nothing's stopping you except your wife. So that would be my suggestion. If this is the end all be all for you, go back to the UK. Go back to the UK and go under the umbrella of the monarchy again. If you don't want to live by the monarchy's rules, there are consequences to that. You never took the time to figure out what the consequences would be. You didn't save, you just jumped ship as if everything you said in the Brexit statement that people would just, go like, oh, okay, yeah, Harry, we'll give you whatever you want. That's not how the real world works. And Harry has found that out. And I think he's not too happy when it comes to real world costs. I mean, I'm sorry that maybe sometimes they feel vulnerable. I hope that they are, again, as protected as they feel like they need to be, but not with my taxpayer dollars. He does not need IPP status. If there's a threat, a legit threat, he will get the protection that he needs in the UK. Without it, he can go there like anybody else. And yes, he might have to deal with paparazzi. That is his life. If he can't deal with that, live out in the country somewhere, never see another human being again, because he sounds really isolated, that he has almost this isolationist mentality. If nobody touches me, if nobody sees me, they don't know I'm here, and I can keep myself and my family safe. But that's not reality. What if the danger comes to your house? What if the danger comes from not this grand like terror he has, but simple, maybe a car accident, maybe an accident in some other fashion? He can't control everything. And again, no taxpayer dollars should be expended to feed his delusions. So guys, that is my thought on this matter. Let me know what you think of Amalia. Thank you so much for watching. I think she is lovely and amazing, and I can't wait to see her as a future queen in the Netherlands in a couple of decades. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support, and I shall talk to you very soon. Bye.